a lot of what we do and why in many cases the clients come to us is because we do a lot of bespoke sort of niche product development, I suppose, within the industry. From our perspective, AI does allow for like faster prototyping and designs and things like that for people to sort of share their ideas. But I suppose from our experience in terms of actually developing some of the products that we're working on, it still needs that personal expertise and the manpower that we have. So looking ahead maybe to the next year, there's going to be maybe more of a focus on that yes and no option that the prediction markets have, but also maybe more like micro betting.
The World Cup is here, and if you were to take a stab coming out of this World Cup in this year, do you think we're going to be looking at platforms any differently?
Maybe that's one of the ideas I'll try to put into ChatGPT, and it might give you a few.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Sports Betting Conversations with DataArt. Today we're joined by Mark O'Hare, VP of Sales at the unit. Mark, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. As you mentioned, I'm the VP of Sales at the unit. So I know Paddy, one of the founders of the unit, has been on this great podcast a couple of times before. But the unit is a product design and software development company specializing in the betting, casino, gaming industry in general. So we're based out of Ireland, as people might be able to pick up. I'm Irish myself, but I made the move over to New York at the start of 2025, as we tried to sort of grow out the business here in the US. Originally from Dundalk, where the company is headquartered. So we provide sort of full development life cycle across product design, development. We have an engineering hub in Moldova, soon to be opening another office in Gibraltar as well. And yeah, like I mentioned, based here in New York, sort of working with our clients, North and South America, and obviously trying to grow that client base as well.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the city. Happy to have you here. So in terms of your expansion plans, we can talk about it broadly. We need to get into specifics. So um, just from our previous conversations with Patty, you've made a name for yourself in Europe, and uh, your part of your strategy, it appears, is to do something similar in the US. Um, in terms of kind of your client sweet spot, like do you look at kind of the big sports books, kind of like clients like lower, like in the ecosystem of sports betting?
Yeah, exactly. What I mean, we're pretty agnostic when it comes to, I suppose, companies we work with in the industry. But I suppose our sweet spot would be those sort of operator type clients, both casino and sportsbook. So I suppose in the US in particular, one of our sort of keystone clients and one that we I suppose was quite good in terms of PR, but also was a real accelerator, I suppose, for our growth as well, was PlayStar Casino in New Jersey. So we did both their app development, iOS and Android, as well as some of their front end development there for their launch into the New Jersey market a couple of years ago, which obviously gained us some recognition in that market. I think they're currently ranked as like a top 10 casino in the New Jersey market, which is obviously quite competitive. They do a lot of great work themselves in terms of marketing and everything else, but we do like to think that the original product also sort of speaks for itself in terms of its quality and has played a part in that. But outside of that, obviously, yeah, we work with sports books, we also look with sort of third party providers in the industry as well. Currently working with the likes of Sporting Tech on some of their brands in South America and Africa, and doing some redesign work on their sports books and also app development there as well. But also interested, I suppose, in the betting adjacent companies, of which I think there are quite a few more over here in the US. Everything from sort of the picks tools and subscription types tools like Outlier, Walter Picks, and these type of guys. To I suppose now we're seeing a whole new wave of entrance to our industry, I suppose, when it comes to like prediction markets. And then before that, we obviously had sweepstakes and others getting involved as well. So yeah, like I said, pretty agnostic. There's throughout the team, there's a lot of experience, both operator side, supplier side, and everything else in between. So basically anything in the betting industry, we're conversations with and have worked with. But yeah, I suppose, like you say, high level sweet spot is sort of app development and operator side projects too.
Excellent.
It's funny we were talking earlier about our companies, right? We were talking
Mhm.
about DataArt really doing a lot of heavy lifting in the industry. We're kind of
Mhm.
famous for our work with Flutter, and
Yeah.
our 5,000 engineers. We really focus a lot on the platforms and data, and and you look at we were talking about our website, AI forward,
Mhm.
everything,
Yeah.
AI centric, especially now very important in sports betting. Now you take a different approach to technology, and this is where we're trying to find our differential.
Mhm. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about like how AI is not as important to some of the work you're doing, and maybe some of the work that you're doing that is interesting around the globe that you're trying to bring to the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose a lot of what we do and why in many cases the clients come to us is because we do a lot of bespoke sort of niche product development, I suppose, within the industry. And that's probably just the fact that between the leadership team and obviously people that we've added over the years as well, there is a lot of industry experience from guys who've been building sportsbook casino products for 10, 20 years really. And they've been able to adapt and sort of grow as the industry has evolved. I do think AI, like with anything, AI is having an impact on how people go about their day-to-day lives, really, and it's obviously going to impact everything from product development to how betting companies market themselves and everything else. I suppose from our perspective, AI does allow for like faster prototyping and designs and things like that for people to show sort of share their ideas, which maybe hadn't happened before. So if people coming to us with new ideas, startups and things like that, it's a lot easier to sort of present their ideas, which is helpful for us. When it comes to I suppose providing sort of costs and estimates for the work, but also when it comes to building the work. But I suppose from our experience in terms of actually developing some of the products that we're working on, it still needs that personal expertise and the manpower that we have to build what we're trying to do. Um, it probably has provided efficiencies in other parts of the business when it comes to like reporting and time management and things like that. But when it comes to the actual development, our guys getting to work, there is a lot of, like I said, expertise and knowledge within the team that is needed that AI just can't replicate for us, or at least that's what we're seeing. Which, like I said, I feel the clients that we're working with currently and people that we're chatting to is an appealing part of what we do, that it is actual people providing the feedback and the insight into what we're building rather than AI, which I feel is replicating a lot of what is already out there, which I think is pretty common, not only in the betting industry, but across all all industries, more or less.
Yeah, I think I look at it was similar, the people first approach,
Yeah,
but the power of it that, especially on the data side. Uh,
yeah.
so, as far as products in gaming, what are some of the trends that you are looking for next year? We're moving into 2026.
Yeah. I suppose it's been a long held, I suppose, thought, or I feel like I've heard a lot of people talking about it at different events and conferences I go to or read about online. But sports books in particular haven't really changed how they look, in quite a long time, and especially when sports betting became legalized here in the US. I think people expected a lot more sort of innovation and things like that to come along, which it hasn't really as yet. People are always trying to bring in new products, and like I think you see when the customer base reacts to that. So I suppose outside of the betting space at the moment, or maybe coming into the betting space, you have like prediction markets, which are obviously taking up a huge amount of column inches, but also just people's attention has been drawn to them and how they're operating and sort of taking away maybe some of the traditional betting market. And they are quite sort of easy to use platforms. They encourage sort of fan engagement, or it feels like you're a little bit more involved in what you're betting. It also is quite binary in terms of yes, no. You also see the amount of sort of volume placed on each selection and what your payouts are going to be. It's a little bit more transparent than what the traditional sportsbook would be. And I feel obviously with the news last week about DraftKings and FanDuel sort of maybe taking a closer look at how the prediction markets operate, or maybe launching or partnering with some of those guys. Yeah, I feel we're going to see more of that come into the traditional sports betting market, where it's a little bit more binary, um, a little bit more straightforward, less barriers to using. But also, I mean, the in terms of new products, I suppose the most recent one that had a big effect. And I say most recent, I suppose, kind of loosely because it's been a couple of years in operation, but like the same game parlay product, that's in my opinion the sort of last great innovation, for want of a better word, in the sports book industry. So looking ahead maybe to next year, there's going to be maybe more of a focus on that yes and no option that the prediction markets have, but also maybe more like micro betting. The speed of markets allow for more frequent betting and live betting as on events that are ongoing regularly. And then yeah, outside of that, I think there will also be sort of innovation and a chance for people to launch sort of beta products around like the World Cup, soccer products, and then obviously as well that NFL and everything else that comes along with it. But I think there should and will be a lot more experimentation when people have seen sort of the reaction to how these prediction markets work and what sort of offers they have and things like that. So yeah, hopefully like I said, some more innovation and sort of more products coming on board.
And in regards to AI, yeah, it's been like the buzzword going on. I don't know, it's 2 years now, 2 full years, it seems. And it seems like, at least from our perspective, from DataArt, because we're so heavily invested in this industry, have you like, and you mentioned like, you do use AI. Sometimes it's applicable, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But like over the course of even like the last, let's say like 6 to 9 months, have you seen kind of like a shift in the paradigm about people's sentiment towards it? Because, from at least my personal perspective, initially it was something that was going to replace millions of jobs and everybody's going to be, living on the streets and AI will do everything for us. But I've seen, obviously this hasn't happened. It will never happen. But now, like some of the AI conversations around, oh, it's not to replace people, it's actually to work with people. Like, have
Yeah.
you
Right.
seen some of that?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, even from a personal perspective, probably maybe 9 months to a year ago, I would have said, I do not want to use the likes of ChatGPT or things like that. I don't know whether that's from a trust perspective or just something it feels like, this piece of tech can't think better than I can, if that makes sense. Now I use it, I wouldn't say daily, but pretty regularly if I'm working through, different projects or just looking for feedback. It is quite helpful in terms of like, maybe narrowing your focus on things. And like I said, similar to yourself, Russell, I don't see it as a situation where, AI is going to replace people's jobs or things like that. But I do think the people who can use AI better,
Hmm.
will definitely see the benefits of that. Um, so that's something that for me personally, I've been trying to, improve my use of it as well. But like I say, across the company, we are using it in different aspects as well.
Hmm.
And I suppose from a customer perspective, we are seeing as well, there's new tools coming on board, or at least it has come up in conversations with some of our clients where you'll see now that AI can and will be able to provide like hyper personalization. Now, who does that best in a sports book sort of environment will obviously have huge benefits in terms of like, okay, I place the bet
Right.
on the Giants, and this player to score a touchdown 2 weeks ago. This says odds change, and that appears on when you log into your sports book and things like that. So I do feel it is going to become more prevalent, both from our side in terms of building out the projects, but also on the sort of consumer side of things as well, then that it's helping sportsbook casinos, whatever it may be, sort of personalize their offering, but also improve it at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, funny. I was at a discussion last week. It was more e-commerce related, but they said in probably 3 to 5 years' time, the ads you might see online are probably going to have the face of you and I as the person in the ad, because AI will become so advanced to sort of put whatever it's the Nike hoodie or whatever that you've been interested in buying. You might see an ad of yourself wearing the Nike hoodie and things like that. So how that all affects the betting industry, I think it's still unknown, but yeah, it's definitely going to have its benefits, and I'm sure it's negatives as well. But I feel it's sort of reached a tipping point already that the benefits seem to be outweighing the negatives, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. It is kind of like teetering the other way now.
Mhm.
Um, and I think a lot of it has to do with it's more people inclusive than before it was just computers, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and technology, and not mentioning people and in conjunction with AI in the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think I mentioned before, like I'm not that technically minded, so I wouldn't be able to go on and start coding or anything like that. So if I previously, and sometimes people who would come to us with ideas, and I would be in a similar position to myself. They might have a great idea, but actually presenting that and then handing it off to a developer who might be able to build it was difficult. And even for myself, like I say, handing over an idea that I might have to a developer might be difficult for them to understand. AI now means I can go on to ChatGPT or even Figma and things like this, so I can type in sort of what's in my head as my idea, and then it can be sort of created into a basic prototype, but at least gives some visual cues as to what I'm thinking that can then be passed over to, a development team, engineers, who can maybe understand that better than how I would be able to explain it in a technical situation. So the benefits of things like that are huge, I think, in terms of sort of speeding things up as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, Kevin, do you have a
No, just probably thinking ahead and trying to wrap up here. Um, you brought up the World Cup.
Mhm.
You just getting here to the U.S. I still think the World Cup, something technological, game changer is going to come out of this World Cup.
Mhm.
Have you, just because of the eyeballs that are going to be on it, a lot of new eyeballs in this country in particular, have you guys started working with any clients in the US on those initiatives? Because it's here. I mean, the World Cup is here. And if you were to take a stab coming out of this World Cup in this year, do you think we're going to be looking at platforms any differently, or something, from the consumer is going to change towards not only soccer, but betting?
Yeah, I mean, we have in more so and just about improving their soccer product, I suppose in anticipation of the World Cup, rather than anything to that extent, I suppose, in terms of innovation. I do take your point that there will likely be something that comes along out of this that is extremely sort of engaging or captures the attention.
Right.
Um, what that may be, I'm not too sure on that just at the moment. But
Right.
maybe that's one of the ideas I'll try to put into ChatGPT, and it might give me a few ideas. Yeah.
And we can collaborate our companies and build it. Literally.
Exactly, exactly. Um, but yeah, that's going to be huge. Obviously, you know, the sports books or whatever, obviously planning what they're going to launch in time for that now, or have been planning for quite some time, really. But yeah, exciting times for next year. It's going to have a big impact, I think, both here and elsewhere as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely the right opportunity for that. All eyes will be on us here. in North
Yeah, yeah.
America. Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of hopes that Ireland make it over here. I know that much. I think the whole of the unit office back in Ireland will be making the move over to New York if Ireland managed to qualify. So we'll see.
That'd
Oh
be great.
yeah, that should be interesting. Um, yeah, still but through March, I think they go for qualifying. So
Yeah, they have qualifiers in March. So they're Czechia away first of all, and then if they win that, they play the winners of Denmark and North Macedonia. So not that I'm paying too
Not that
close
you're
attention.
following.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Well,
yeah,
stay
yeah,
good.
exciting times. Yeah, thanks, Mark. I mean, it was great conversation. Thanks for all the insight. Looking forward to, what else the unit has in store for us in the sports betting world here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks, guys. It was great to chat through and bounce around a few ideas as well. So appreciate
Excellent.
it.